welcome back to 5-Minute Life Hacks. This is your host, Natalia Ambrosia, coming at you from my bedroom in Los Angeles, California. Today's episode is about stillness. And ironically, right before I prepared for this episode, I had like a mini anxiety, I wouldn't say attack because it wasn't that bad, but where I had to use what I had just learned this week about stillness. So it's coming in very hot and fresh. So in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about how to be still. And being still is similar to meditating, but that's a whole nother episode. It's a type of meditation because you're working with, quieting the thoughts in your brain and sort of making it clear. But stillness is sort of a little bit more simple than meditation, giving your brain time to rest, time to recoup. Just like your body needs a rest, just like your car needs to cool down, your mind needs a break from all the input, all the Instagram you're scrolling through, all the work you're doing, all the people you're talking to, everything you're putting in it, even music. Your brain needs a second, maybe even to process it. And yeah, when you sleep, you're still dreaming and maybe your brain's resting, but that's a different type of rest. This is like a rest, like a conscious rest where your brain can just do whatever it wants. It can just breathe. And it sounds simple, and it is. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a quick little trick on how to do that. How to give your brain space. But first, of course, I'm going to tell you how this episode came about. I've been decluttering my brain lately, and that's because throughout this quarantine, I realized I was feeling super busy and my head was just bursting. And I was like, how am I feeling the exact same way I was feeling before quarantine? And there's a lot less going on. And then I had to kind of pick through my days. And I've been doing a lot to try and make myself feel better, like getting better sleep and journaling. And also Instagram. I got off Instagram. I've been off Instagram for a few weeks now. And I'm going to do an episode on how it's been and how I found it to be off Instagram. But even then, no Instagram, just focusing on work and sleep, I still found my brain cluttered. And I thought, how can this be? So one day I was thinking about this and I was like, why do I feel so cluttered still if I've taken away all the distractions and the scrolling? And then I thought about my day and then I thought, okay, well, all you've done today is go on a run, do some work, have some lunch, do more work, watch the sunset, and talk to a friend. That doesn't sound very hard. And then I looked back and I was like, well, in reality, what you've done is you went on a run, but you listened to a voice note on your run. Then you replied to the voice note. Then you went to work. Then at lunchtime, you were filming some future content. Then after that, you finished working. Then after work, you went to watch the sunset with your housemates that you were engaging with. Then you got home and were on a FaceTime. And then you recorded your podcast and then you went to bed. And then I realized, well, when did your mind have a break? I'm not giving myself time to rest. I'm trying to be productive, mentally productive, even if it's listening to a podcast or music or friends. That's not letting myself rest. So I think a few days later, I decided to go on a run. And this time I had no music, no podcast, no nothing. And I was just running. And after the run, I felt so refreshed and so great. Long story short, I started incorporating that into my run and then into my workout. When I'm eating my lunch, just eating my lunch. And I've been noticing that having these moments of stillness, of not having an agenda to think, has just given me a lot of mental space. And so with this in mind, this week I took myself to the beach and I thought, I'm just going to give myself a little break, just a little bit of sunshine. And then I thought, okay, be still. And then I thought, but I don't want to. And then I listened to a podcast episode and it was Super Soul Conversations. Oprah, she was interviewing this guy, Pico Iver, who wrote a book on stillness. And he was saying that stillness is a type of meditation, but meditation can be scary. And I agree, meditation is scary because it's essentially try not to have thoughts, just be present. And that's really hard for me. And so he was just saying, sometimes stillness is just like having a moment before your partner gets home with the lights off, listening to music and daydreaming. And I thought, that's easy. I can do that. So I started playing with the sand. I made a sand turtle and that was great. And then I watched a few of the people walking by the beach. And then I was watching the surfers. And then I found myself there for 4 hours. And I felt amazing. I had sunshine. I wasn't bored. And I'd sort of pushed past it. And I swear to you, the last few days, I think I've finally made change. I think it's finally hit me. This is something so simple that you can add into your day, just giving your brain time to just do whatever it wants, to just like be still, like don't have an agenda essentially. But if you do think about something, then that's okay. Give it time, give it space. And that's my trick. Literally find moments of stillness while you're eating, while you're walking, while you're sitting there. Instead of scrolling for 5 minutes, instead of watching Netflix, just sit there and look at that fly on the wall. I'm looking at a fly on the wall right now. Think about it. Maybe don't think about it. Just look at it and see what your brain comes up with. Give your brain a break. And that's it. I promise you, it is easy and it'll make a difference. As always, please message me on Instagram. I love hearing from you at Natalia Ambrosia. If it takes me a second to get back to you, sorry about that, but I will get back to you. As always, have an amazing day. I love hearing from you. Try to find moments of stillness. You're wonderful. Bye.